Every story begins with an idea, shaped, built, brought to life by human ambition and creativity. For too long, creatives have had to work around their technology instead of with it. Now, a new frontier of connected intelligence brings it all together. People, content, data, and systems, powering a new era of intelligent media with Microsoft IQ. Enabling an organization's intelligence to show up exactly when it's needed with Copilot and agents. In the flow of work across every role, across every moment. Allowing AI-powered creation to turn imagination into fully realized worlds at speed and at scale while preserving the human spark. Delivering agentic operations, where intelligence is integrated across the entire media lifecycle, from orchestrating workflows to optimizing distribution. Because every story holds more value than what you see at first glance. And Microsoft IQ helps organizations unlock new growth with AI to turn real-time insights into deeper audience engagement, new formats, and new revenue opportunities. That's the return on intelligence, real, measurable, and grounded in trust. This is how Microsoft is powering intelligent media with a unified AI platform, powered by you. This is Microsoft for Media and Entertainment.
Welcome to Powering Intelligent Media, from AI experimentation to real-world impact. Please welcome to the stage Microsoft's Worldwide Vice President for Telecommunications, Media, and Gaming, Silvia Candiani.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us to have this discussion around what it takes to bring media, intelligent media, from experimentation to scale adoption. We are really at an interesting inflection point because when we talk to media customers, the majority is still experimenting with AI and not moving forward to really embed it into every critical workflow in their core business. And so some are already there, and what we want to discuss today and go through some examples and demos is really that it is possible and what it takes to get to this scale foundational AI approach. Now, we've done this recent research, and we saw that around 80% of the companies, of the media companies, claim they still don't have the right IT foundation and the skills in order to go into scaled AI adoption. However, there are a few companies that we call the frontier telcos, the media companies, that are at the forefront of innovation, that are actually able to deliver great ROI. And what they measure is about, in 88% of the cases, they're able to increase top line, but also they report an ROI impact of 250%. So it can be done. And actually, there are a few factors that are holding us back, and today we're going to talk about what they are and how we can move forward. So if we give some examples of this ROI, just three ones that we wanted to mention. Dentsu is an advertising agency, and they built a set of agents to understand audiences better, and they reported to have been able to reduce by 90% the time to get from insights to specific audience insights to target media. But also we had NBA with more than 10 billion fan interactions every day, and then Universal being able to multiply productivity of their staff in their parks by 3 times, empowering agents on the floor so much better. And you can see some of the other examples from Kantar to NFL and so on, MediaKind. So real ROI is possible, but it requires an approach that is more foundational to really build the preconditions for success. Now, we're going to talk about 3 main areas, which is the what we can do in media. So we're going to talk about content creation, AI-empowered content creation. We're going to talk about agentic operations of media core workflows. And then we're also going to talk about new growth with AI. So what are the new services that we can launch to monetize our media? So being also new fan engagement opportunities, but also, for example, how can I increase the revenue yield that from my media assets in order to, thanks to hyper-personalization, so that I can really serve the right ad to the right customer when they're in front of the media. We'll go through some real-life examples and some demos on those 3 pillars in a moment. But before going through the what we can do, I wanted to spend a few moments to talk about how we can do it. Because there has been a lot of discussion in the industry about what it takes to have a successful AI implementation, and lots of the discussion has been around models. And even if we think back around on the last 12 months, we went through, all the hype for different type of models, ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude. But really, the key factor for me is not so much the model. By the way, we believe that it's important to have access to all models, to have a multi-model platform, right, so that you can optimize across all the models. But really, it's about intelligence and trust. So what it is, so intelligence means that you want to serve the right context to agents so they can make the right decisions. It's a little bit like for employees. Employees are productive when they have the context about how they need to operate, what is, how things get done in a certain company, how you need to decide, who decides, what are the rules of engagement, the policies. So if you serve agents with the right context, they become much more performant. But the other element is trust, because one of the reasons why lots of companies don't scale agents across their operations is because they don't have full trust the agents are going to do the right things with very critical information if we think about IP, rights, live events. I mean, these are critical factors in our industry. Either you trust agents to be 100% performant and under the control of a supervision of a human, or we would not deploy them. So we find that having the right governance and structure around security, governance, observability of agents, so that you have a control plane for agents is critical. Otherwise, no matter what the agent performance can be in isolation, you will not deploy it at scale. So intelligence and trust. Now, if we go a little bit deeper on what intelligence is, as I mentioned, it's really about providing agents with your IQ. So when you are in a company, you understand how things get done in the company. So how do we give agents the same context? And the approach that we have at Microsoft is around this intelligence layer, which is really built around the 3 IQ. And you'll hear about IQ throughout the session today. So IQ is work IQ, fabric IQ, and foundry IQ. Work IQ means that you give agents context about who you are, who do you work with, what matters to you. Let's say that you give access to the graph coming from Microsoft 365, so that agents understand that what is most relevant for you, and therefore is more the type of work that they do is more grounded on who you are and how you work. The second is Fabric IQ, which means giving agents a context about how the business operates. So you want to make sure that agents have access to data that goes across all of the domains. We know that sometimes data is silos within a company in different divisions, but also it's maybe residing in different clouds or in different environments. So you want to give the insights that come from all this data to the agents, and also to have a semantic layer on top of it, so that an agent can understand how business works and how it operates. And the third element is Foundry IQ. Foundry IQ is really access to institutional knowledge. That means how things get done into a company. What are the assets that you can have access to, that agents need to have access to, but also things like, for example, the connection to the MCP servers, and guiding in Foundry developers and agents to the right content that can help them develop applications. We'll see an example of what a difference IQ makes in an agentic operations later on with a demo. The other element, we were talking about intelligence and trust, is observability. So I think it's really key for a business to have this kind of control panel so that you can see what agents are doing, and if agents are behaving as they're meant to behave, if they get access to the right data that they needed to have access to, but also that they are secure. So through Agent 365, we gave an orchestration layer, an observability panel to the company so that you can also have every agent with an Entra ID, so you can monitor an agent as much as you'd monitor an employee. And I think this is really key because then security is by design, and it's not something bolt-on, and it gives you the confidence to adopt agentic processes at scale. So that means that what we think as Microsoft is we have built a platform which is end-to-end, which has intelligence and trust as a foundation, and then it is able to build and operate and govern agents end-to-end, and has access through Fabric to the entire data that a company has. But also the other step is to make those agents available to every employee in their flow of work through Copilot. So the idea is to have ubiquitous innovation for everyone, but an end-to-end platform that is secure by design. Now, let's bring it down to the reality. And so we want to go through a few examples, and later on we're also going to have a panel with people from the industry to talk about their real-life experiences. And we're going to have 3 sections on AI-powered content creation, second, AI agentic operations, and third, on monetization and new growth with AI. But in order to talk about content creation and how to produce content, localize, visual effect, and with the support of AI, I want to call on stage Vijay, who's the CEO and founder of Collective Artists, who's going to show you some of what it is possible. But while he comes on stage, let me show you a video on what they have been doing. Thank you, Vijay.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. That looked nice, at least to me. I'm Vijay Subramaniam, founder and group CEO of Collective Artists Network, and I have spent the last 1 year with my team in establishing only one holy fact, which is in the never-ending debate in the world of content is, are you pro or anti-AI or pro and for AI, pro and against AI? We spent our entire last year building a platform, developing an entire ecosystem where creatives and engineering and technology come together and are not opposing each other. Hence, in this never-ending hotbed of a debate, I would like to firmly and unabashedly say that I think I'm on the side of pro-evolution, because I think that's what AI is. I don't think it's a piece of technology. I think it will become the new way of living. And every time technology has advanced, incumbents have been threatened, and we are here to not treat it as a threat, but we're here to be the absolute union between creativity and technology. Why should you waste your Sunday morning, a few minutes, precious minutes of your Sunday morning listening to me? In the parlance of Hollywood culture, Collective Artists Network would be a combination of the market share that CAA and William Morris have together. So we're by far the largest talent agents in the country. We also are the world's first all AI cinematic studio through Gallery 5, which is everything that I will show you over the course of the next 4 to 5 minutes is going to be completely generated on generative AI, not through prompts, but with creators, with costume designers, with production designers, with directors, with writers, with cinematographers, all of them who are currently on our platform making movies as we speak. Post-pandemic, one singular truth hit all of us in the movie business. Productions, the global box office market kind of capsized. You didn't know what audiences wanted to see. Do they want to sit at home and watch vertical videos? Do they want to pay money to go to the cinemas? So I think we decided at Collective about 2 years ago when we made the acquisition of the tech company that's called Gallery 5, was we are now not going to have gatekeepers be anybody else outside of creativity. So how do you get out there and give somebody a tool where they can create content at scale, regardless of whether they have access to capital, access to studio systems or not? So 3 humble truths. How do you make a $100 million piece of content in $10 million? How do you, I call it the birthing of a story, which is my mandate to my team, is script to screen, agnostic to format, theatrical, television, or mobile in a matter of 9 months. It takes 9 months to create a baby. It should take 9 months to get a piece of content out there, which you really, truly believe in. And most importantly, give creators the access to creating anything that they want without having the restriction of putting up a set for 3 years or finding studio capital, none of that. How do you make it possible for every single creator in the country, in the world? We started off with India, of course, and you'll see some of the work that we do to actually have power to this creativity. Contrary to popular belief, I think Microsoft has been very kind as partners with us. Our work is available at the Microsoft booth. We got rid of agenting, the entire technology that we built today. You guys can go over and see what they do. You actually just have to bring your creativity to the table, and then our workflows, our orchestrators, the product, which houses multiple models that are not just AI native models, right? You're talking about 3D, VFX. Through the pipeline, what we do is we are in a position to give the creator the power to create anything he wants. So it's not a prompting game. As we speak here, I have equivalent of 3 national award-winning directors over in our offices in Bangalore, actually producing 3 theatrical movies, the first look of one of which you will see today. A call out to Sylvia and everyone in Microsoft who's been nothing. It's very, very difficult. Very, very rarely India has usually been opposed for a lot of back-end IT and IT service and technology-led jobs. Very seldom does a product from India that originates in India travel to the world. And what we did with them was we were very, very clear about being a product company. And our product thesis was not just about making a product for the lowest common denominator. How do you make high-fidelity, theatrical-grade content through a product? And that's where Microsoft's partnership has really helped us in developing our entire strategy. Additionally, we also have built, I don't know if there is a facility like this around the world, but at least from an India point of view, India's first hybrid studio where we marry live action, motion capture, along with AI. This is in Bangalore. And what we're doing as we speak is we are actually we're shooting 2 theatrical films currently, which are bound to release in this financial year before April 31st. And you will have all of them. I hope for all of you to see it at some point, sooner rather than later. This is also the same facility through which we are currently shooting India's largest epic called Mahabharat. It's 25 minutes of completely AI-generated content that gets served on the JioStar platform, which is India's largest OTT platform. So very, very quickly, what have we landed up doing in the country, and where do we plan to take this forward across the world? We managed to build India's first OTT show that's completely on generative AI. We are in the process of releasing the first theatrical sometime mid to end of this year. We also created India's first celebrity digital double. We also created India's first unscripted, all generated on AI cooking show. But mind you, when I say generative AI, a lot of people misinterpret that to be a 25-year-old kid sitting behind a laptop with a prompt. These are all directed, show-run, and the fundamentals of making these pieces of content are no different than, say, animation or anything that we've known of filmmaking over the last 5, 6 decades, right? And with that, towards the end of it, I have 2 pieces of content to show you. So all this is great. Vijay, you came and you had a good 5 minutes with us, blah, blah, blah. Nothing works like actually seeing the work that's already put out there, all the makers, everything that we're talking about. I'm a very India-proud person. We've been the land of folklore. We've been the land of culture. A lot of our culture gets exported. And one of my biggest pain points was, why is it that Indian culture has not been produced at scale? Why is it that we are restrained by budgets? We are restrained by limited screens and exhibitions in India? And how do I take my culture, my history, my gods, my local heroes to the world? And we created what we call as the Marvel equivalent of India, called the Collective Studio Historyverse. I have a piece of video to share with you on what this actually means to us back home in the country. Thank you. That was the Historyverse. Of course, we have contained the content. There's a lot more that we can show you over at our booth at Microsoft. And that's all in the works. We have an episode of 25. We have a season of 25 episodes that is currently streaming on JioStar. Hanuman that you saw there will be out sometime in August. And most importantly, the team has worked round the clock over the last 30 days to come to this moment where, along with Sylvia, I can actually launch the first look of our film, post-Hanuman, which is called Krishna. This is the first time the world will see it. I think a lot of my colleagues in India are wide awake at this time of the night, waiting to see this and see this moment come to life. So Sylvia, with your guidance and permission, can we please play the first look of Krishna? I think, if I'm not wrong, it will probably be the world's second fully generated on AI feature film for theatrical.
Thank you.
तदानीं नासीद्रजोनो व्योमा भरोयत किमावनीवः कुहकस्य शरमन्न अन्धः किमासीद् गहनं गभीरम्
Thank you, Vijay. Thank you. And just to wrap up, I mean, I think that's kind of one of the firsts, right, to have an entire theatrical movie produced with AI. But I like what is said about being directed by one of the most important Indian director. And so not being, a substitution of the creativity, but kind of an explosion of the ability to put that creativity into place. And that's the extreme where you can think of what you can do with the AI content creation with this platform model, right? And more than 100 different models in the context of your own creativity. Now, switching gear, I'm happy to introduce Ronnie Yates, our GM for solution engineering, who's going to take us through a demo on what is possible in terms of agentic workflows. Take it away. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Talk about a tough act to follow, the first introduction of this new film. So I'm always super impressed by what Collective is doing. Such a great studio. But today we're going to switch gears and talk a little bit about agentic operations and how multiple agents and workflow orchestration is really changing the way media is doing their work. So what I'd like to walk you through is what we call Microsoft A2A, agent-to-agent host orchestrator. And it does just that, multiple agents working together to help you get your work done. All right, so I'm going to start up here in the left-hand column here, and you can see that I'm logged in. And what that allows me to do is it allows me to bring all of the goodness of Work IQ into this application. I can bring the emails, the documents, everything that I work on a day-to-day basis. I can bring that into this application and with the agent team that I'm working with. Below that, we have the past chats that I've worked on with my agents, as well as any shared files that were produced. Over in the middle column, we have a very familiar chat application where you can come in and you can chat with your agents and ask them to kick off work and do other tasks for you. Now on the right-hand side is actually where things get a bit interesting, where you can manage your agentic team. We have the remote agents that are joined our team, and we're going to be working with 3 of those today. Above that, we have our host agent that is going to be orchestrating any of the work that we're doing. Now, if I want to bring in a new agent, I can come down here and register a new agent. As long as I have the URL, I can bring those in and start working with them. Or I can go into the agent catalog and search for agents to add to my team. This is all governed by Microsoft's platform and very secure. Again, we're going to be working with 3 of these agents today. So now, let's talk about workflows. Go up to the top here, and I'll click on Workflows. And that brings up our Workflow Designer, where we actually drag and drop new agents in to create workflows from end to end. So on my left-hand side, I have any of those available agents. And in the middle here, I have my designer, and this is where we're going to focus. This is our script-to-board workflow, and this is where we have, we're going to work on a set of agents working together to go from a script all the way to a storyboard, starting with the brief. So I'll just walk through. We have our script generation agent. It's going to go to our system, pull out a brief, and generate a script based on that. That script's going to be sent over to our scene breakdown agent, where it's going to analyze the script, break them down into discrete scenes, and then bring those over to our storyboard agent, which is actually going to build out storyboards based on those scenes. So let's go ahead and kick that off and give us a test. I'll click and copy what I have on the keyboard here. This is generating a script from brief B92260. That's just the identifier that's in our digital asset management system. And I asked it to create some storyboards and scene breakdowns for an initial review that I have. So come over here, click test, and that's going to start. You'll see on the right-hand side, we've got our orchestrator starting going to work, planning out that all of the work that needs to be done between these agents. Back on the designer view, we see our agents getting to work. And we have 3 green check boxes here, which means our work is done. So you can see the script generator went and grabbed that brief and started breaking down into an actual script, developing the characters, passed it along to the scene generator, broke down those scenes, filled out each discrete scene with all the information, and then over to the storyboard. And we can also see on the right-hand side, the action was completed, gave us some updates about the script writing agent completing, finalizing the pilot scene. The storyboard agent produced the storyboard visuals and the metadata. It also suggested some next steps where we could have storyboard expansion, we could start prepare for a stakeholder review, and more. And one last thing, down at the bottom here, we actually can see what this agentic workflow actually cost us. We have the number of tokens that the agents consumed, as well as the number of tokens that the host consumed. And it actually gives you a total. And then finally, we have the estimated costs. So all of that work was done for about just under a dime. So very efficient set of workers completing this workflow. And if we go back and we look at the chat flow, we can see all that happened between those agents. We see the script generator agent. We can see the specific script that was produced. We also see the scene breakdown agent in each discrete scene, how they filled out each scene and gave it some depth and color there. And we also see the generated storyboard agent. We see the storyboard that was generated and the structure of that. Finally, a summary of all the work that was done. And lastly, we see that storyboard that was generated. So all of the work that these agents did together, you can come back and see that the chat between them. Again, on the left-hand side, you can see come back to the chat, continue that work, all the shared files that were produced during this workflow, and you can come back and start to refine that script. So a powerful tool that allows you to orchestrate your agents working together and get your work done throughout the day. And there we have it. Back to you, Sylvia.
Good. Thank you. And we've seen this in the context of a script to storyboard process, but you can imagine the same, a different team of agents working, for example, on the optimization of operations to make sure that we are actually able to work on, faults and problems on the fly, and then directing these actions to the human in the loop who's overseeing the process. Thank you so much.
All right,
Rami.
thank you for the show.
And we'll now talk about the third pillar, which is the new growth with AI. In order to talk about that, let me welcome Simon Cramshaw, our media strategy lead. So the idea here is really to understand how hyper-personalization can deliver impact in terms of the monetization.
Thank you, Sylvia. Before we play the video, I just want to say, from going from amazing creation to amazing operations to now incredible fan experiences, I think there's no question on the Microsoft side, the partnership with the Premier League is amazing. What we've done in the last 12 months or so is crazy. And before I talk a little bit more about it, let's play the video.
Let's make some noise! Go!
Anywhere you go, anyone you might meet, it always starts with, who's your football team?
What a goal!
The Premier League is watched and followed by over 1.8 billion people around the world in over 180 countries. The most important thing for us is finding new ways to attract more fans in the way that matters to them. The greatest challenge is the extreme amount of competition for attention and the massive fragmentation in the media landscape.
We realised that there was the opportunity to build something more personalised, more future-facing with the content and the data and the insights that fans want.
In trying to deliver on this personalisation mission, it was a natural time for us to think about the role that agentic AI could play, helping assess the vast amounts of raw material that we have, making it accessible and discoverable to our fans on an individual level.
Being able to give them access to that content on demand is fundamental to their enjoyment of the game.
Microsoft Foundry is the cornerstone of the Premier League Companion. We're utilising 4.1 Mini for natural language prompts, Semantic Kernel for orchestrating agent interactions, and Azure Machine Learning with Azure AI Search for real-time insights.
The Companion puts into the hands of fans over 30 years of insight, 300,000 articles, 9,000 videos, exactly the kind of data and content that fans want to have at their fingertips. The Companion allows everyone to be part of the debate that sits at the heart of fan culture around the world.
And the crowd is going absolutely wild.
That is awesome. The Premier League partnership has been a really amazing journey. I can only articulate the work that Alex and Will on the Premier League side have done, but in partnership with our amazing Microsoft team. We started and launched that partnership in July of last year. And we've taken it from incredible heights in terms of real-time personalization, an AI companion that supports everything you want to do. And let me just take you back for just a second. This is going through vast amounts of data. We went through over 300,000 articles, 9,000 videos, petabytes of data, statistics for 30-plus seasons. And to train the models that we've built for this in terms of the experience that we create for the companion, have been incredibly rich, determining how to bring latency to the companion so the responses are there, they understand which teams you like, and what goals you're looking for, or following a game, whether that be play-by-play components or bringing podcasts to life for game summaries and so on. But it would not be possible without understanding the fan. And so even in partnership with Adobe and their CDP platform, which powers under the hood everything we need from a customer perspective, so we understand where you are, what you like, because the Premier League serves 1.8 billion fans around the world in 189 countries. That is a phenomenal task to bring that level of personalization to life. And so when we try and do that real-time personalization at scale, we do need things that Microsoft provides. Alex talked a little bit about using Microsoft AI Foundry. We use semantic kernel. We even use Azure Machine Learning, but also Cosmos DB as well to drive all of that together for the companion so that when you ask a question, you get a really quick response in terms of what you're looking for. And now we're bringing back video highlights. And now, as you kind of continue to see us evolve, we're now going to be seeing things like localization at scale, right? Whether we're doing it in Spanish or Arabic, because something that's coming later this year in terms of some of the evolution of those new features. So I just wanted to share my gratitude for that partnership. I think also the two things that came before me in terms of what Vijay presented was amazing. I think Ronnie did a phenomenal job of showcasing the agentic operations because all of these things are connected and together and part of the Microsoft platform. And with that, I'm going to hand it back to Sylvia to continue the rest of the presentation.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So we've really gone through the three elements of the three pillars of agentic transformation. What we saw is how we delivered intelligence and trust. And so it's really the opportunity to have an end-to-end platform that delivers the possibility to innovate at scale and allows us to go from pointed experimentation to real scale adoption. Now, in order to then go to the next stage and really talk about how it is done in practice, let me welcome to the stage, of course, Vijay that we saw before, but then also Nikki and Ed to talk about the AI experience. Please, come on stage. So, thank you for joining me in this session, and I would ask you to introduce you first and tell 2 words about who you are and what you do. You already done it, so I'll go to Nikki first and then Ed.
Hi everyone, I'm Nikki. I'm the Associate Vice President of the Media Services Group. I lead the engineering team responsible for live stream orchestration, video on demand ingestion, and some internal tooling as well. I always joke that you probably don't want to know me because usually that means things are broken. So
that's great. Thank you. Ed?
Hello, I'm Ed Dolinsky. I'm in charge of data solutions at Penguin Random House. I'm responsible for anything Azure, Fabric, Foundry, and excited to talk to you today.
Yeah, and Vijay, I think we've already seen who you are and what you do. Okay, let's start with the first question. My question is, what AI-driven transformation has been most meaningful for you up to now, and has driven most impact and meaningful impact for your business? Do you want to start, Nikki?
Oh, sure. Yeah, so I mean, I think we can all agree that AI is just one of the most transformational changes of technology in our lifetime. And I think coming from the NBA, we fully expect this to change how we present the game and how we engage with our fans. We have been leveraging AI actually for quite a while. It's been very impressive. We do things like highlight clipping. We do ball tracking to assist our refs when they have to make goaltending calls. We also do live translations into multiple languages for our play-by-play commentary. Now, for me, on the operational side, the thing that has, really been pivotal for us is building a really strong foundation for the trust that we want to see in the AI. And I know they had mentioned that earlier. And so, we've built things for resolving issues, catching them before we deploy code, all of those really great things that make you feel really confident in your systems.
Great. And actually, when we think of an organization that is already frontier and really deploying AI at scale, certainly MBA stands out from that because of just not the fancy things that you show in the boardroom, but really how you operate the business. So congrats. Ed, what about you? What is it that you're most proud of?
We have about half a dozen projects right now that relate to AI, and one of the ones that I would like to talk about is we have a process where our marketing and publicity people will send sales updates. They'll say, okay, this author is going to be at this event, or it's going to attend a book signing, and they have to take that information and basically rekey it into an internal system. So we were looking for AI to basically get rid of that redundant task and actually take unstructured content and turn it into structured content. And we're estimating that it's going to save anywhere between 5,000 to 6,000 hours a year. So we're really looking at AI to help drive that automation and not have to have duplicative tasks. So we're really excited.
Really reinventing the process, how we've done up to now, and seeing what benefits AI can bring in, streamlining it and making, kind of give more space for creativity to creators to a certain extent. Thank you. And Vijay, what has been the thing that you're most proud of in terms of AI application?
We have a 23-year-old straight out of film school who would have taken anywhere between 15 to 20 years to get onto mainstream television as a director. She has India's largest show on day zero. For me, that was hugely powerful and empowering. The show that's on air has about a crew of about 100 people across various departments. First-time editor, first-time music composer, first-time production designer. So we've been able to actually empower meaningfully creating jobs for creators, giving this tool. The film that we're making, and I'm giving it anecdotally, otherwise, it's more specific so that you can illustrate with it. The director who's directing Hanuman, he's about 50 odd years old, and he initially believed that he has 3 or 4 films left in him. He's a national award-winning director in India. And when he started making this film, he said, you know what? He pulled me in one day and he said, I think you've given me another 20 years of filmmaking. So I want to thank you for that. So I think these are the 2 significant conversations that have transformed. And I think what's happened is, because we've been able to scale down the cost of making this so dramatically, in terms of throughput of content, I think we're doing something like 1,000 hours a week in terms of AI content. And I think that's only going to scale up over the course of the next 1 year. And imagine the opportunities it will create for young creators. That's my singular biggest transformation.
Yeah, really opening more doors for creativity and taking barriers of entry to entry. That's great, actually. By the way, you didn't mention it, but the current show that is on air has more than 50 million viewers every week. So, I mean, it's not like a niche little thing on social media.
It's a big one, but I think I had to...
The numbers in India are amazing, right, in general, right?
I'm just limiting the show-off slides a lot. So.
Okay. So, what was most critical in moving from experimentation, pilots, to scale? Nikki, let's start with you again.
Yeah, so for us, we were extremely intentional about identifying projects that really impacted our fan base, and also very intentional about not applying AI broadly from day one. So as I mentioned, we very strategically picked out the project, and we also had to identify which vertical that it made most sense in, right? Whether it's live streaming, video on demand, B2B, all of the different things that are kind of encompassed on the operational side. And so what we would do is we would then go through a very iterative approach where, we would build this foundational use case for a single vertical, and then we would go to scale it. The thing is, though, we weren't just scaling it, right? We had to improve it. I think we've talked about how quickly AI is changing. There's, I think, Sylvia, you mentioned earlier, there's different models every day, right? And so we had to be really flexible. And so it's really important for us to, again, not just scale it, but really improve what we had previously built. And this really allowed us to leverage AI to build a very resilient and flexible model that we could then expand across all sorts of different features, all sorts of different models. And it's really been transformative, and we feel really great about the solutions we build because we've proven that small use case, and then we really expand it across the board and improve it along the way.
Yeah, that's great. And for you, Edward?
I think, excuse me, I think the most critical thing was really, setting expectations, that AI is not going to be 100%. So I think once we got over that, our users get more comfortable with that information, that they're touching it before and after the process, so that it's not just going into a black box and getting released out on the internet. So I think once you get that first win, you're going to see that your users are going to talk about it, they're going to want it more, and then be more approachable, because it's it's a scary thing for users today. They think they're that their job is at stake, when it's really, this is just to enhance how they work and to be more performant.
Yeah, and we touched on it. It's really a change management process and really understanding the psychology of it, the skills, because we saw that 90% of the media companies think that they don't have the entire skill set in their people. So how do we bring them along so that it's an opportunity and not something that scares them? And so that it becomes a change management effort in where you get the first mover and then you kind of celebrate success, to your point, so that it becomes more of an exciting thing and not something that you fear. Okay, and what about you? I mean,
for us, I think
you're kind of an AI native, so maybe it's slightly different, but how do you scale also with your customers?
We started it with a very simple philosophy that nobody had done it in the world, produced 25 minutes a week for broadcast television. So there was no reference points. I think we started with the adage of 70% good is go. There's always going to be room to improve it. It's always going to get better. It's still getting better. When we first started, I mean, emotions were a challenge. Depth in the eyes were a challenge. Human interaction was a challenge. Lip sync was a challenge. The audio models weren't advanced enough to get modulation of emotion. I think all of those things, if you see episode 1 and you see episode 25, you'll see how the technology has just become better. So I think the way we are doing it, at least on content creation, is I think it's great for 30 seconds. I think it's mastered it. But I think when you're going into long form, we don't have any benchmarks and references across the world. So I think what we're doing is we're still piloting. But the only difference is we're not producing at scale, we're piloting at scale, right? So now we're putting content out there, we're making movies. We're probably the only film right now which is on 8K resolution for IMAX, completely generated on AI. So I just feel that these are all pilots that will come to fruition as and when we learn. Every day of training the model is new for us. So I think we're there. I mean, if anybody has any better thoughts about how to produce it at scale, more than happy to hear. I think it's the best minds in the world out here. But right now, our thing is just keep doing it and figure it out along the way.
And maintaining this kind of growth mindset and adjusting and learning and adjusting. Okay, looking ahead, what is it your next big bet on AI? Nikki, you're first.
I think this is probably one of the hardest questions for me to answer, to be honest. I mean,
well, you don't know what's coming in AI, it's so predictable.
It's so challenging because AI is literally evolving day by day, hour by hour, minute by minute. There's a new article come out, there's a new model come out. There's just so much going on. So I'm going to answer your question with kind of a non-answer, but I think our focus is really to be flexible, right? We want to see all of what's out there, and we want to identify the key pieces that are really going to enhance that fan experience. And so with that, kind of in the meantime, while we're waiting and we're watching the news and, we're seeing everything out there, we really are focused on building our strong foundation. So building agents that can proactively resolve issues or proactively provide insights for our engineers to resolve issues, catch them before they even make it into production. And so that way, when we do find these new things, we are feeling really confident with adopting them and putting them onto this like flexible platform that we've built to be like really resilient and will hold up and will continue to give the fans, you know, the best experience possible.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it because it's really, we're going towards a more of a autonomous agents, right? But you want to keep the human in the loop so that it builds the confidence, as you discussed. And so the kind of foundational AI approach that is foundational, so resilient and efficient, but at the same time flexible by design, because you're going to have to adopt, you know, a new model, a new something, you know, along the way.
Exactly. Yeah, you can't just, you know, throw everything and see what sticks, right? You want that foundation to feel really confident with what you were building and what you were using. And yeah, so perfect point.
Edward, what about you and Random Penguin House?
Yeah, I think the big one for us is really Microsoft IQ and Foundry. So we've been doing a lot of work on Fabric data agents, and what we're seeing is that, you know, that knowledge that's in a user's head really needs to be in some repository somewhere, so that if they're talking about, you know, give me the top 5 romance books that published or released, like the AI doesn't understand what that means, that, oh, that's when the book actually comes out and it's mapped to this database field. So we're finding that a lot of that knowledge really needs to be in to help the AI really understand, you know, what you're trying to accomplish. So that's definitely on our radar.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that will bring you the capability to really re-envision the end-to-end workflows of a book publishing. Okay, and what about you? What is next?
3 parts. In the next 18 months, if we can get to doing 1 theatrical release every month as a studio, which would mean that much more work out there for people, for directors, writers, etc. In the next 18 months, look how much of my client universe can get into the construct of digital rights and digital doubles and build character universes around them, which don't require their time, which is, I think, a hugely disruptive. It's as disruptive as what social media was back in the day. And I think lastly, I think I would have failed if, we'll start from India, if I wouldn't have at least broken 20 or 30 filmmakers. That's my goal. My goal is, can this literally go out there and say, you know what, this has created this much employment, and these many people have been able to tell their story because of the use of technology. They weren't replaced, they were found because of technology. So that's my 3-part goal.
Okay, that's great. So last question. Any last thought or, you know, lessons learned, something that, you know, very quick that you want to share with the audience?
Yeah, I think from a content standpoint, it would be great to meet minds across the world and see how we can collaborate on this, how we can move forward on this. I think some markets are still susceptible of this, still kind of not really optimistic about it. It's what I said in my keynote. I think for me, this is not an option. It's like how, you know, you're driving automobiles today. Would you rather move from point A to point B in a car or in a chariot? I think evolution is literally a part of it. I don't see enough minds globally working on the creative side to bring this together. I see a lot more pessimism on that. That's something I'd like to break. And one of the main reasons I took the trip here is to meet people here, is to meet folks here, go over to Los Angeles, to San Francisco, and actually interact with the creative community and say, you know, how can this actually work together as opposed to being afraid of it?
To be an opportunity. And for you, Edward, last thought or lessons learned or parting thought?
Yeah, I would just say when you find those early adopters of AI on the business side, latch on to them, you know, because it's really tough to get that kind of, you know, momentum going. And once you get a salesperson inside the business, it makes it much easier for you to incorporate that into your processes.
To accelerate the transformation. And for you, Nikki?
Yeah, so I know we've been talking about like kind of the technology side of AI, but I think that one of the things that I really deeply think about when, you know, we're bringing new features or we're building this foundation is who are the people behind that, and how do we think about AI? How do we think about the fans? How do we think about the overall technical architecture? And so really thinking about how you can leverage, you know, your people and your experts and really ramp them up on that AI front to be as effective as possible. And so, yeah, it's just always top of mind is the people building or leveraging the AI.
Great. So thank you to our amazing panel. Thank you so much. Wait. Just last thought. I want to mention these are the theater sessions and the demos that are going to be on our booth, so come and see us. That's where we are. And this is also a couple of resources. So if you want to see also online, you know, some of the announcements and some of the demos, this is where you can find them. With that, thank you very much for spending time with us. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you so much.